Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Magic and Miracles, where you learn how to be the magician of your life. My name is Anna, and I'm your manifestation coach. All the information from me is below. I coach mainly in audio exchange and emails, as well as sometimes telephone sessions. Mostly my coaching is based on audio exchange, as I just mentioned. We start with your childhood, your formative years. I'm very interested in what formed you, the individual that you are. Your mom and dad, your guardians, your friends, your grandparents, whoever affected you during your life, the kinds of memories you have, the kinds of belief systems that you developed during that time. Most of the time, 99% of the time, people are walking around with belief systems that they've inherited from somebody else. It's not even their belief system. They're so unconscious of their belief system because it's an automatic pilot that they are operating. Most people who haven't worked on their beliefs operate on a program that's actually inherited from somebody else. If they never took the time to examine what those beliefs actually are in a very meticulous way, in which I go over in my coaching. This is a very important part of my coaching. They remain reproducing the same event or the same relationship over and over and over again. It's not until such time that you either get in a coaching with somebody who knows exactly what they're doing, and examine this pattern, examine where you picked it up from, and why you're keeping it till this day. Okay, it's not exactly a pleasant process to go over these situations, but it's necessary. The analogy I always give in my coaching to all of my clients and in a lot of my audio/videos is that it's as if having a pile of garbage in the middle of your living room and complaining, why does it stink? It's not until you take out the pile of garbage that the living room is then nice and clean and tidy, and then you can welcome guests, you can serve champagne, you can eat caviar, you can dance, you can have marvelous experiences. It's a metaphor, of course, but in effect, the pile of garbage represents your beliefs that do not serve you. So in order to get into coaching with me, you do have to email me. I will let you know when I'm next available to take you on. There's usually a wait, okay? But the sooner you get yourself on the list, the better the probability that you'll get into coaching sooner with me. I recommend always at least a month. I do have a 2-week unlimited package that includes 2 telephone sessions. The rest is unlimited audios and emails. But this is truly for the impatient ones, okay? Realistically speaking, you need at least a month, if not 2, if not 3, to really complete my coaching. I also have the monthly unlimited that includes obviously unlimited audios and emails, but also 5 telephone sessions, 1 hour each. And then I have the complete package, which includes the unlimited monthly complete, which includes unlimited telephone sessions. And this is truly for somebody who wants to be on the phone with me rather than sending audios. Of course, you can still send audios, but this is truly, again, this is not therapy. Please don't misunderstand. Coaching is very, very different. Okay? Coaching is me allowed. I'm allowed to tell you what I think. In therapy, a therapist is not allowed to tell you what they think. Professionally, they're not allowed to do that. That's their protocol. I am allowed to tell you what I think, and I'm very straightforward, very direct. My personality is such that I cut through the bullshit. Okay, please read my agreement once you sign up for my coaching. It's very straightforward. It's just for those who still haven't caught up on how direct I am and how I don't beat around the bush. I'm here for results. I'm not a therapist. We go over a lot of things that you might be have gone through in therapy, but I'm allowed to give you my opinion, and I'm allowed to draw the parallels between what you're experiencing right now and what you've picked up in the past. We'll do all sorts of exercises in my coaching that a therapist will never in a million gazillion years give you. Okay, this is why a lot of people stay in therapy till the end of fucking time and never really achieve any great results. When there is no feedback, there is no real feedback of really advising you how to change your life, which is what coaching is. There is no fucking progress. I'm allowed to tell you what to do, meaning I can suggest. Obviously, I cannot tell you what to do, I can suggest. It's your choice whether you want to take my advice, whether you want to take my feedback. I'm just going on the assumption that you know my personality and that you want to change your life. And if you don't take my professional opinion, that's completely up to you, but I'm allowed to give it to you, unlike a therapist. In addition to this, I really quick wanted to discuss. Okay, so there's also a seminar for 10 people. This is up to 5 hours of my time of basically conducting a seminar, whether in person or via Zoom. Okay, the fee is just my fee. I'm in no shape or form responsible of creating any kind of renting a space or anything like that. That's your business. I can even show up to your home if you wanted me to. I live in New York, so I would prioritize that as my number one location. Again, if you live outside New York, we can talk about it. Right now, only in United States, okay? I'm not going to do international for a while. In the future, maybe. So finally, I want to discuss. So if you have any questions about any of this, please email me directly. The email is below and all the information on the website is below. Okay, finally, I wanted to discuss the newly added package, which is called Crash Course for One. Okay, so this is about an hour audio, literally walking you through everything that I cover in my coaching along the span of like 2 to 3 months sometimes. Okay, this is the holy grail of my coaching. All the exercises are there, everything step by step that I cover in my coaching. This is for somebody, it's a great value for somebody who wants to do it themselves. Obviously, it's a lot less money. If you look at my pricing, it's nowhere near the amount of money you would spend in 2 to 3 months with me. However, you're going to do it yourself. In addition, though, because I realized, some people might have questions and this and that, I did add a telephone session up to 2 hours. You have maximum of 2 hours. If you want to split those sessions up, that's fine with me. 1 hour here and 1 hour there. But you need to schedule it with me so I can answer your questions. So it's called Crash Course for One. It's on my website right now. Again, it's for somebody who wants to do it themselves. And if you have any question, we can schedule the phone session and go over it, okay? Go ahead and take advantage of it. Otherwise, getting into coaching with me, the advantage obviously, is that you get to interact with me on a consistent basis versus doing it yourself and only having 2 hours of my time, okay? So now that I have that covered, the subject of today is how to get everything you want. I'm not really exaggerating. It's not my personality to exaggerate in any shape or form. I really did come up with this out of inspiration. Everything I discuss with you guys on my channel comes inspired to me. I already mentioned this many times that, in fact, this channel is dedicated to my ideas. Yes, intellectually, I'm very educated in the metaphysics and physics and many different experiences in my own personal life and in the lives of my clients have taught me undeniably that I know exactly what I'm talking about. But it needs to be inspired. Every subject that I discuss with you is truly inspired. Inspired means in spirit, means you're one with the invisible that's prompting you to create certain things. That's the best kinds of creations. That's what channeling is. If you're inspired, you don't need to close your eyes or pretend to be another entity, as some teachers, teach. You can just be yourself and just let that inspiration pour through you. That's what artists do. That's what writers do. This is what, just about any person is capable of that when they're really inspired to do something. I'm sure everybody knows what I'm talking about. At some point or other in your life, you truly felt inspired and inclined to do something, go somewhere, buy something, talk to some person, la 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 la. And so inspiration becomes the number one most important reason anybody would create anything in their life. So thus it follows that if you're inspired to do something, if you want something, in other words, if you want to create something in your life, it means that your desire is already backed up by the universe. The universe itself. The universe is you, by the way. You're doing all of this yourself. You're creating this illusion in any way. Just pretending that you're this tiny human being on planet Earth. But actually, you're just pretending that you're so insignificant for the sake of learning how to master this manifestational game and really become the magician of your life. And so if you're inspired, it is literally a nudge from your higher self, from your guides, from the universe, whatever you want to call it, that this is something that is supposed to be in your life. This is already, if you want to say predestined. I don't believe in destiny. I think you create your own destiny, but you can use that word just to illustrate the kind of feeling it carries with it. It's predestined. If you're inspired to do something, it's meant to be yours. In a parallel reality, it's already yours. So job one would be to pay attention what you're inclined to, what kinds of inspirations you have, what kinds of people you're attracted to in a healthy way, not in an unhealthy dynamic, in a healthy way. The second thing to really hone in on is that you live in the creation of your mind. This entire universe is a construction of your mind. When you are having a dream at night and it seems so real, and then you wake up and you're like, wow, I really thought that dream was actual reality. I don't know about you guys. I have all sorts of dreams that feel that way, especially lucid dreams. And I'm sure a lot of you know what that is. A lucid dream is when you become aware in the dream that you're dreaming this dream, and you are able to create in real time what you want to create. In the 5D, in the dream state, you're able to create whatever the fuck you want instantaneously. You want to create a street. It's like Inception, the movie. You want to create a street real quick of all these buildings. Boom, done. You want to manifest a person really quick. Done. You want to start flying. You're flying, levitating. Whatever. You want to transport yourself really quick to another city. You can. And so this is truly a metaphor, or the kind of like the explanation of how this reality operates, except this reality is slowed down. Its 3D is always slower. And it serves you because if you change your mind in the middle of your creation, you can change your mind. Right? So I think it would be a little bit spooky in this density if you started creating things instantaneously. Basically the delay serves you very much. And so in this reality, though, everything, all the rules still apply, that you can create almost instantaneously, but there's a certain delay. So if you do change your mind, if you get angry, or, if you start having fearful thoughts or some kind of angry thoughts, and then you calm down, you cool down, or some desperate thoughts, and then you change your mind, you go to the higher frequency and you don't manifest that anymore. You manifest something instead that's changing parallel realities. But the same rules apply. You could manifest instantaneously, and this reality is just a dream. It's just another dream. And so somebody, hold on, let me get her name, Cat_V. So because I asked you guys, what do you guys want to talk about? And by the way, feel free to comment whatever you guys want to talk about. I may not always take interest in it. I'm sorry, I have my opinions, but you can always request, and I do keep, track of your comments and this and that, so you can always comment. Don't get discouraged. But anyway, back to this lovely lady, cat_v request. I'm gonna like weave in the comments into my audio over here. She said, okay, hello Anna, how about life is like a fairy tale? A few videos you mentioned how life really is like a fairy tale. I would love to hear your words on it. Thank you. I absolutely adore this channel. Thank you so very much. I adore this channel too. Which is why I put in so much work into it. And I know you guys want to see my face and this and that. I'm stubborn when I'm asking you, anybody who's still listening and not subscribed, please subscribe. At 1K, I'm going to have a live session, answer your questions live. And, I'm going to show my face and make an effort to make face videos. It's just a lot easier for me when I'm inspired to record my audio this way and not start editing videos and this and that. But I will make an effort, and we'll, like I said, we'll go live and this and that. Okay, so let me answer her question. This is not really like a question, this is a whole fucking session, but okay. And the reason I'm going to answer it in depth is because this has very much to do what I'm talking about here. Life is a fairy tale. So whether you wanted to make it a nightmare or a fairy tale, it's still imaginary, because you imagine everything. Everything is your imagination. Everything is your consciousness. If you start imagining and creating on purpose, having realized that you are the creator of your life, that it's your world and everybody operates under your rules, that actually there are no rules. Yes, there are certain rules like, gravity, and, the sun comes up in the morning and the moon shows up at night and this and that. And, there's karmic laws and this and that. The universe is a boomerang and a copying machine. But that you get to create anything you want in your life and nobody's there to stop you but yourself is a fact. And so it's up to you to really realize that none of this is really real, right? So none of this is actually real. If you really break it down, it's not, none of this really exists. When you die, when you go to the other side, you realize, oh, that was just a dream. It's just like you waking up in your bed in the morning and having realized what I just gave you the example of a dream. This was just a dream. So if you realize, like I realized in the middle of my lucid dream, and I'm sure you guys had the same experience, some of you, if you realize in the middle of the dream that all of this is based on imagination, your imagination, all of this is based on your blueprint of beliefs, which is why I'm so adamant about explaining how to do this in my coaching, and adamant about making people aware that if you're not achieving your results in your dream, in your reality, is because there's a fucking stubborn blueprint right now, present, playing out certain situations on a loop. You are still creating it, but you're creating it in so unconsciously, so in such a genius way, right, that you don't even realize that you're creating it. And so the paramount importance it is to realize what kind of systems you have in place, what kinds of beliefs. Like, it's so automatic, right, that there are not even words attached to it anymore. You've downloaded this information at some point in your life. It's not even verbalized anymore. And sometimes it really takes people like a minute to come up with the verbiage, the words behind the belief, because it has settled. It has it's in concrete now. It has settled into your subconscious on such a level that you can't even verbalize what it is until you take some time in coaching, for example, and start really digging into yourself in trying to explain what you think about certain things. What do you think about relationships? What do you think about yourself? What do you think about money, etc., etc., etc.? And so once you start reworking this imaginary world based on changing yourself, changing your outlook, changing what you believe about certain things, changing what you believe is even possible for you. Life transforms from a nightmare. I'm using an extreme example. Things not going your way, this and that and the other. SP left and blah, 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 whatever the situation is, some kind of a drama. Life transforms into a fairy tale, but in both cases, it's imaginary. Now, your imagination is a very powerful tool, no doubt about it. One of the most powerful tools in the world. But what's even more powerful is changing your blueprint, changing your beliefs. Because if you don't change your beliefs, you can visualize till the end of time it's not going to happen because your subconscious mind overrides it and says, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. And if you don't believe it, it doesn't happen. Because beliefs will always win over. At some point or other, they will win over. This is why I don't believe in affirming till the end of time. This is why I don't believe in any kinds of techniques. It's a waste of time, quite frankly. Unless you do the work on yourself, on your beliefs, okay? Because once you have those beliefs in place, once you have corrected your blueprint, once you have adjusted your fairy tale of life to your liking in the most specific way, in the most stubborn, specific way, like literally reconstructing bit by bit by bit everything that you believed thus far, the fairy tale takes off. Everything turns out in your favor. Everything just goes your way. Yeah, you might have a cranky day here and there, but you remind yourself, oh yeah, my life is a fairy tale. I forgot. Everything's supposed to work in my favor. I completely forgot about that. And so even if you have this little moment, sometimes people get into coaching with me and, we work on beliefs and this and that, and something pops up and they have a cranky day and they say, oh, I reverted. I'm like, no, you didn't. You did not revert. It's just the old system sometimes takes time to shift all the way through. And so, yeah, you might have a day where you have a cranky moment, you have a cranky day, whatever it is. And the old system shows itself once more. And you say again, no, I prefer my fairy tale. I prefer what I prefer. I don't want to believe this anymore. It hasn't served me before. It doesn't serve me now. And once you reach working through beliefs, it's so important because it's a road to knowing something completely different, a different world, a different reality, getting familiar with that kind of reality is what makes your fairy tale come about. Well, before you believed something completely different, and now you choose to, on purpose, deliberately, to believe something different. Now, at first, yeah, it's going to be like I said, a struggle between the old beliefs and the new beliefs. Of course, it's not going to happen overnight. Absolutely not. But it starts with identifying what it even is that you're working with. Again, to verbalize it and to put it on paper. Now, I work with clients one-on-one with rescripting their beliefs and doing all this other wonderful stuff that we work on. But the thing is, right, truly, somebody has to help you do this kind of work because most of the time, okay, the person has been living with those beliefs for so long that they don't even realize that once they start working on these situations, on what they actually believe, they kind of still try to come from the place where they are, what they believed in the first place. And so it takes sometimes somebody who, needs to help you, like a coach, to say, hey, you're still talking about the same thing from the same perspective, right? So it takes somebody to point it out to you where it's like, what you're telling me right now is more of the same, but in a different, forceful way, which is what affirmations sometimes are, where the person actually doesn't believe what they say. There's no grain of truth in it. They just want to force themselves to believe something different. And sometimes, again, it takes somebody like a coach to gently guide them through the process of proper way to change your beliefs. It's a very delicate kind of work, but it works if you do it correctly. The idea, right, is that once you change your beliefs, is that they're going to be just as stubborn as the old beliefs. That's why it's so important to work on that extensively and to really take interest into the kind of person you're becoming, because the new you will have access to this fairy tale 100% of the time once you really settle in that reality, in that frequency. The new world that you're striving towards, that you're wanting to manifest, where you get everything you want. And I mean everything you want. It doesn't have to be just one department in your life. It could be the love life, it could be the money, it could be the career, it could be the friendships, it could be the travel, it could be whatever the fuck you want. All of it. Absolutely all of it. You don't have to pick and choose. No sacrifice is necessary. Okay? I just want to say something, because some people, in my coaching and all around the world, come from religious backgrounds. And you know what? Some religions, all of them actually, have this kind of mentality of like, you need to sacrifice something in order to be a good person. No such thing is necessary. That's absolutely bonkers to brainwash somebody like that. You don't need to be a good person, meaning you don't need to sacrifice to be anything to be a good person. In fact, what the universe is asking of you, not really asking, but inspiring you to do, is to be, the beacon of hope for others, the beacon of example for others. Like, look, if they can do it, so can I. And no sacrifice is necessary. The only thing you're sacrificing when you are evolving into a new person is your old beliefs for the new ones. That's no sacrifice. That's just changing realities, changing who you are. The idea of manifesting the fairy tale in your life that you want, and to get everything that you want, is to basically get settled, get comfortable in the new you. Because most of you, if you want to change your beliefs, if you want to change yourself into somebody new, I guarantee 100% of the time, you're going to be uncomfortable. You're going to be like, this feels weird. I'm not used to getting what I want. I'm not used to things being all right. I'm used to shit being fucked up, right? Yes, because you learned along the way, somebody like drilled it in your head that, you know what, things have to be hard. Money doesn't grow on trees. Oh my God, I have a good story about that later. Oh no, maybe I shouldn't. Basically, it's all, some kind of like hardship, and, you gotta be like, behave in a certain way in relationship to be loved, and this and that and the other, Meanwhile, it's reverse. It's fucking reverse. Your fairy tale comes true where it's easy. Everything is easy. It has to be easy. Do you go to the park and see the grass struggle to grow? Do you see trees like, oh, I don't know, is it possible for me to grow to grow leaves this year? Like, oh, I don't know, maybe. It's effortless. The good things are effortless. But if you're conditioned to think that money doesn't grow on trees, when it actually does, not literally, but, it's in the air. Money doesn't even like exist. It's just an idea. It's just an exchange of energy. So what are you talking about? Money doesn't grow on trees. Money is everywhere. Just provide value to the world. Come up with a passion that you really want to, have in your life. Make it into a business or a work, and boom, you're making money. You can't get rid of it. But this is not the mentality you might be coming from right now, because somebody again told you from very, earlier on, money's hard and this and that and the other. Sometimes, you know what? It's reversed. Somebody believes that money is really easy, but the love relationships are really hard, because, I've witnessed my parents being a certain way, and I don't know any other way. I haven't seen anybody happy in my life in a relationship. But again, it's all coming from a blueprint that you've observed or inherited. It's not yours. And so again, there will be a period of an adjustment, but the ultimate reality, the highest form of reality of yours is a fairy tale. So you've got to change your altitude, like a plane who's, like a private plane goes higher in altitude so they can fly higher than the commercial plane. In the same manner, you got to change your altitude so that you fly on a frequency where you can get everything you want. Other people can do whatever the fuck they want. You can change your altitude and say, this is now my altitude. This is my level. This is my fairy tale. I'm only going to be up here. I'm only going to think from this vantage point from now on. Because the reality of things is that, again, universe wants you to be happy. The universe is you. Universe is benevolent. And your happiness, everything that you want to create in your world, in your reality, is your birthright. You didn't show up here to be pissed off 90% of the time. Okay? How, fucking, sadistic would a universe be for that to have happened? No, you're here to figure out that you are the creator of your reality, that things happen on your say-so, that you do create everybody and everything, and then to create it. But like I said, you need to get to the point where you're comfortable in not knowing and you're not second-guessing yourself anymore based on your previous programming. What you really have to do is, once you understand your blueprint of beliefs, is reverse engineer what you created before. Because if you, just as you could create fucked up shit because you know how you created it. You thought something, you felt a certain way, and then boom, it happened. Just in the same manner as you created something not so lovely in your life, you can create the loveliest shit on earth. Like whatever you think right now that you can create, or whatever it is that you think you want, you can create 10 times as much. 10 times as much, 20 times as much, 100 times as much, and higher in frequency that would blow you away completely. But if you put yourself in that parallel reality right now, the way you are with your beliefs, you would not be able to sustain it. It would literally blow your mind. You wouldn't be able to stand on your 2 feet because you're so overwhelmed. So the idea is to get there step by step through processing your beliefs and to really work on them, work on your blueprint. The frequency of the fairy tale of your life is really, really high. Really, really high. And it feels amazing, but what the second part is that anything that even remotely doesn't belong there gets repelled. So any kind of person, any kind of event, any kind of bullshit that would have happened doesn't happen. If you keep your frequency high, if you stay in that world of a fairy tale, it does continue to be a fairy tale. So the idea is, the way to get everything you want is to keep your frequency high at all times as much as you can. So there are a couple more comments really quick, and then I'm going to wrap this up. So, how do I read this? Sheps, oh my goodness. Sheps B Play Store. What is this? 3891. Asked me, I'm interested in how to create the balance between focusing on what you desire and detaching from the outcome. Thanks so much. Well, I kind of already covered this in the sense that if you're focusing on your ideal world, your ideal fairy tale, on focusing on what you desire, you're not really attached to it. You just know it's going to come true. I mean, you're attached to it in the sense that you're focused, but detaching from the outcome, I mean, it's simple because, listen, everything is exactly as you planned it and manifested it. There's no mistake. When you become acutely aware that you're manifesting this reality, you have responsibility to create what you want to create. So if you haven't created thus far what you want to create, that's also a manifestation. Something blocking it, something being like, usually you, again, your beliefs. And so The detaching from the outcome is quite natural and normal because you already know what the outcome is. So, you don't need to check every single time, like what city you live in. You know where you live, right? You don't need to check like your address every 5 seconds. You know where you live. So if you decided on a certain outcome and you decided on manifesting a certain kind of world for yourself, all of a sudden, you decided that's the end of it. You don't owe anybody an explanation. You don't need to check 500 million times where you are on this. You know it's coming. So in fact, like this whole process of making it a little bit harder for yourself and saying, I have to detach from the outcome, I don't understand. Because you already decided it, so therefore it is. So you just wait for it to come. That's it. Okay, then this person, Frey 520. How to get unblocked on social media. And I told him or her, I don't know your gender, or you guys need to put your names down there so that I can address you. And I said to this person, stop stressing about it. That's how you're gonna get unblocked. Do you know how long it takes somebody to unblock you? 5 seconds. Why are you stressing about it? It's not even that important. I would say go watch my video on thought transmission on my channel. It has a lot of goodies in there. You can create this in 5 seconds if you wanted to. You can have a mental conversation with this person and say, whatever happened, I'm really sorry. No hard feelings. I don't know what the situation is, but basically have a mental conversation and ask them to unblock you, and they will. Okay, and finally, I want to close this with the way you get everything that you want is to get guidance. So if you're not meditating on a regular basis, you really need to start. And everybody meditates differently. I meditate in a very unorthodox way, but it works for me. I just tune into the parallel reality of my choosing of whatever I want to manifest. I put sometimes a meditation music tape, sometimes I don't. But essentially, meditating is really contemplating what it feels like to be in that world already. Because remember, what's most important is invisible. What's most important is invisible. The 3D is not important. If you like it, it's important. If you don't like it, it's not important. But really, the next step of your evolution, of whatever's coming next, is invisible, which is why you have to create the energetic ambience of that world and really keep it alive as much as you can. And with that also comes something, again, I circle back to inspiration, but listening to the inspiration and listening to your guides. Everybody has guides. Everybody's born with at least one guardian angel or guide. Sometimes it's, 5 if a person has a really challenging life or has had a really challenging life. It depends. But essentially, you really have to start meditating and really have to kind of get accustomed to listening to your guides. And some people might think I'm a little bit cuckoo, but what does it matter? I listen to my guides all the time. Anytime I need guidance, anytime I have a question. Sometimes they speak verbally in my head. Sometimes it's a sign. The universe always delivers answers. And so when you become attuned and accustomed to this energy of the invisible that's always there to help you, of whatever's coming next, you have a feeling, or you hear like in your head a thought that it sounds like your thought, but really it's like you didn't think it, meaning you didn't compose it, and it's inspiring you or guiding you or telling you the answer or telling you what to do. I cannot tell you guys how many times excuse me, I had these situations where I needed an answer of some kind, whether it was a dire situation or just something that I needed answered. And there was no possible way in the physical for me to find that out. And I knew it, whether it was in a dream, or it was a thought again that came into my head, or I saw a sign or verbatim, there was a sign with like, a message written out that I saw somewhere on the internet or in the street or this and that, which gave me the answer, which prompted me to go a certain way in my life, or to disconnect from this person, or or. So in other words, what I'm asking you to do is to give this considerable attention, where everything is coming from the invisible. All of your reality is coming from the invisible. You might as well pay more attention to the invisible than to the visible. So when people all the time talk about getting distracted by 3D and paying attention to the 3D, listen, personally, I, have disconnected from that idea like a long, long time ago. I mean, at least 12 years ago. I realized that, you know what? It doesn't mean jack. It really doesn't mean jack. Everything is vibration. Everything is feelings, emotions, imagination. Everything that I just stated is invisible, and yet it rules your world. It creates your world. It creates the circumstances. It creates the versions of your SP, versions of your bank account, versions of event, versions of whatever. Simply because you tuned in into a different parallel reality. All of what I just said, vibration, feelings, emotions, are literal translations of parallel realities, i.e., different worlds. Parallel realities are different worlds. And so the number one thing here, because I leave the best for last always, is for you to become attuned to the invisible world more than you are right now attuned to the visible world. And you will find, whether that's consulting with your guides, whether that's meditating and getting ideas in your meditative state, whether that's simply for you to feel into that world that you're creating right now. You have to create a very close relationship with the invisible, so that you don't struggle against the visible anymore. You don't care. You know exactly what you did in your mind. Your mind is all that matters anyway, because you're creating all of this. And then, you don't even need to check. Like I said, you don't need to check outside where you are. You don't need to check what the situation will be. You know what the situation will be, because you created it in your mind in the first place. And so make tight friends with the invisible, and really start realizing that that's actually the only thing that matters anyway. Thank you very much for listening. All the information for me is below. Until next time, ciao, ciao.